do you mean?
No, I don't understand.
All right, let's go.
You've been in your house for like all week. Where are you making early Shabbos? Someone explain this to me.
I have work all week. Okay, if we could have in mind, Alti Yisroel ben Bela Nechama, my neighbor, just went to the hospital, and his wife has it as well. Yes, Alter Katz just went to the hospital.
Yeah,
and
but
his wife
not
has
for
it
the
as well.
virus. He went because he thinks he has a blood clot. There's nothing to do with the virus.
And his wife has it, which means he does.
No, he had it.
There are studies that show the virus causes blood clots.
Yeah, there's a blood clotting disorder that's associated with COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And can we also please have in mind Labish David ben Sibka? It's my great uncle. He is not expected to make it through the night.
Man, you got a lot of relatives, Jesse.
Not anymore.
Jesse. All right. Well, everybody should have a refuah shalema, which should only basuras tovas.
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, I got the wrong Gemara.
You got the wrong Gemara? We're learning Shabbos.
I got a sukkah.
Hello. I'm almost about to give a shir. I actually started already, but what's doing?
Oh, I can't wait to hear
part of the shear.
I can't wait to hear what happened with that the woman that went to Florida. I've been dying to hear all day.
I heard she shipped herself back in a UPS package.
Right.
Amazon Prime. It was overnight.
You recognize it, then it's
Yeah, but she's on
She probably went north to Georgia, got a tattoo, got her hair done, titled, and came back.
Okay. All right. Good job.
I wish there was a heter for tattoos. I wish.
She went north of the border.
I want the mustache on my finger.
I didn't hear back. That's all.
Did you hear from the rabbi?
No, of course not. Are you kidding? I had another winner today, and today I had Rahmanis. They said, they had a Shiloh said, so drop it off. Can't drop it off. We're on the way to Brooklyn. I was like, you're on the way to Brooklyn for Shabbos. But I didn't. I just shut my mouth because I didn't know who the person was. Like, what? How are you going to Brooklyn for Shabbos? Crazy. This is why they can't have minyanim. This is why. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, for the stupidest person among us. That's the problem. And the ones that have a half a brain and willing to listen lose.
Yep, 100%. Okay, let's go. Bisman shein lachen, right? That's what we're up to.
Did you see the letter?
I saw the letter. I didn't read the letter. I didn't have patience to read the letter.
Did you see who signed the letter?
Liner, how'd your brother-in-law sign it?
That's my so I called Aaron. And Rabbi Farner ended up calling Aaron. I asked Aaron, you signed. Did I ask you to sign? He said, why are you asking? I said, my brother-in-law signed. He just put names on. So Rabbi Farner ended up calling. So he asked him. So he said that his son-in-law, who's assistant Rav, signed. And they know they know, which I know. My brother-in-law agrees with this. So they put his name on. But it's pretty funny.
Yeah. All right.
Honesty. Absolute, pure honesty.
Let's go. Bisman shein lachen, right? So is that what we're up to? Yeah. Bisman shein lachen, right? 4 lines down.
You should re-record.
Parrots, this is a very important Gemara for you. This next after the Mishna. All right? So Bisman shein lachen. So we're saying that these things you can use.
We didn't do the Mishnah last night.
No, we're before the Mishnah. 4 lines down first.
Oh.
So when they're wet, right? Actually, this Gemara pertains to us too. Yeah. So are these things that got wet, the cotton, the wool, and all that type of stuff, got wet from itself, or it got wet because like somebody poured water on it, or whatever it is? So Tashema, right? So you can't do it with straw or pulp, and not any soft things. When they're wet. Shopper. So if you say that it got wet from someplace else, then all of these make sense. But if you say that it got wet by itself, so soft things, clothing, right? How is clothing getting wet from itself? Meaning teven, straw, can be wet from itself, from the ground. I guess it still has moisture, right? Zagim also could, but moichin cannot, and grass could also. But moichin, right, which is like clothing, how does that get wet by itself? So the Gemara answers, "Mimarta the beni atmi." Right. So it's from the wool that's between its legs, so it got wet from sweat. right? So it got wet from sweat. So therefore, that's called machmas atzman. Okay. But the Tani Rabbi Elisha time to b'ksus yivesha b'peres yivesha avalei b'ksus leicha avalei b'peres leicha b'ksus leicha machmas atzman heichim shkachzad. Right. So the same thing. This is Rabbi Elisha said that you're allowed to do atmana with clothing that's dry and dry fruits, but not with wet fruits and not with wet clothing. So again, how do you get wet clothing? So the one answers mimarta debini. Again, it's not really clothing because by then it would dry. It's cloth. So whatever it is, it's wool. So how do you get it? So it's also from the wool that's from the animal's sweat. So therefore, that's how it got wet by itself. Okay. So really, now the Gemara, the Ma'aser, the Gemara asked, is it wet by itself or not? And the Gemara doesn't answer it. The Gemara thought it has a proof from wool that it's not wet by itself, and the Gemara disproved it because it said even wool could be wet by itself. So the Ma'aser, the Gemara leaves it hanging and doesn't answer which one it is. It doesn't answer if it's wet by itself or wet from something else. Okay, Zok the Mishna. Taimnim biksus ubeperos. You're allowed to do hatamana with clothing and fruit. The kanfei yaino with wings of a dove, meaning it doesn't really mean the wings. It means the how do you say it? The feathers. There you go. The feathers. Feathers. Thank you. And the little pieces of wood that come from the carpenters, right? And when you comb out the flax, so you get these little pieces that fall to the ground. Shopishtan daka, of thin pishtan, a thin flax. Rav Yehuda Eisar bedaka. Rav Yehuda says it's asr by thin ones, umata begasa, and he allows thick ones. Yeah. Okay. So Amr Rav Yanai tefilin. So that's the Gemara. Amr Rav Yanai tefilin tzrichin guf naki kelisha balkanafayim. This Gemara has no shaykhs to anything other than we mentioned the word yoina. So then this story has to do with yoina. Yes. Amr Rav Yanai tefilin tzrichin guf naki. Tefilin needs to have a guf naki. Elisha balkanafayim, like Elisha balkanafayim. Maihi. So about what does that mean that it has to have a guf naki? Abaya Amar Shalay Yafir, and you're not allowed to pass gas when you have tefillin, when you're in your tefillin. Rava Amar Shalay Yishan, and you shouldn't sleep in them. And Rashi says that really it's the same thing. Why are you not allowed to sleep in the tefillin? Because you don't have control of your bodily functions, and you may pass gas. Yes. But really, Rashi says that the second sheet, the Rava sheet, does even more than that, right? It's really because the first Abaya's sheet is only just to pass gas, right? And Rashi says by Rava, it says Shemi Fiach Ayira Keri, Avalim Yachal Izar Shaloi Yisham Ben Kala Gufim Nekiyim Ba'Fachashi Kan Lamaratz. He's saying you don't need to be Elisha to be able to keep your body clean in the tefillin, right? Right? It's only when you're sleeping that you would have, but if you're not sleeping, it doesn't take that much, right? That much work to keep your body clean. So Maihi, all right. So now I'm sorry we did that. I'll just say it again. Why was Elisha called the Baal of wings? They made a gezer that anybody who wears tefillin, they're going to knock a hole through his head. By Elisha manichem, and Elisha put them on. And he went out to the street. He didn't care, and he went out to the street with tefillin. Ro kaster echad. He saw a kaster echad, a cop. So Ratz Mipano, he ran away from it. But Ratz Acharov, and the cop ran after him. Once he caught up to him, not Lambiroishoy, he took the tefillin off his head, and held it in his hand. What's in your hand? He said they're wings, meaning it's a dove. Pasha is Yodav and into Kanfiyana. So he stuck out his head, and they were found there was Kanfiyana. The Fikach Karanas Elisha Balkanafayim. And that's why they called him Elisha the Balkanafayim. And Mishna Kanfiyana Bishar Oifis. And how come we refer to it to a Yoina more than any other birds? This we need Shmuli for. Mishum Da'amsel Knesset Yisroel the Yoina, because Knesset Yisroel was compared to a Yoina. Shenemer Kanfiyana Nechba Bekesed. My Yoina Knafeh Maginas Aleha. Just like a yoina, its wings protected, not its beak. If Yisroel mitzvahs maginas, and so by klal Yisroel, it's not they themselves that protect themselves; it's their mitzvahs that protect themselves. Right? Now, there's a few questions on this story here. First of all, if there was a gezerah against him wearing tefillin, so why did he wear tefillin? Right? Why did he do that? That's pikuach nefesh. He shouldn't have done that. So the Ran gives a teretz that really you could because maybe they'll throw him in jail. I don't remember exactly what the Ran, but the Ran has a teretz for that. Also, Stam, another kasha, what happened to his tefillin? So his tefillin turned into a bird, so now what? Right? And then the Taisus has a really interesting question, because the rule is that we're only Meiser Nefesh for the big three mitzvahs, right? Gil Yarayah, Shvichas Damim, and Avodah Zarah. But when there's a takana from the government against Jews, and even if they tell you to change your shoelaces to wear a red shoelace like the government, then that's also Yeharag Val Yam, you got to die for that too. So why wasn't he mechuyev to die for the tefillin? Right? So Taisa says, no, that's not a kasha, right? Because he didn't have to wear his tefillin. He's not going to look like he's bedafka not wearing his tefillin. Man, most people don't wear tefillin all day, right? When you see somebody in the store not wearing tefillin, you don't ask a question, he's not wearing tefillin. You say he must have put on tefillin before. So it's not showing that you're giving it to the government by him not wearing the tefillin.
Is this the svara why some people are? I'm not trying to get a whole thing started, but is this the svara behind like making minyanim because the government put down no?
No, I haven't heard that one. No, I haven't heard that one. No, but there are those that say, hey, he wore his. I don't say this, but I'm sure there are those that are saying it. You see that in Pikuach, he was Meiser Nefesh to wear his tefillin. So why can't we be Meiser Nefesh and it'll protect us? We'll be protected. Right?
Yeah, the government's still saying you can't make minyanim. You can't get together. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So the truth be told, here the government probably is not saying no minyanim. I think the government is really okay with spacing out minyanim spaced, or could be that they're okay with it, but it's the Rabbanim that don't want it. But the Ran does say something that somebody can prove that minyanim are okay, because the Ran says in the cases of Mesiras Nefesh, you do a mitzvah, and that mitzvah will protect you in the future.
Isn't it also? It has to be intent as well. No, the government in Rome wanted to quash Torah.
Right.
Here they're just trying to quash a pandemic. It's two completely separate concepts.
I was talking more about Eretz Yisrael.
It's the same concept of Eretz Yisrael. If someone used it.
Really, you're right. It's not a takona, but Okay, so let's see. So the I don't know what you call it. It's the shavings, I guess, of charashin. Rabbi Yehuda and meaning Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishna says it's also by thin ones, and thick ones you can insulate with. So obviously there's less heat being generated by big pieces of wood than small pieces or small shavings. Rabbi Yehuda and is Rabbi Yehuda going on the shavings or on the Irish Pishon, or is he going on the flax? Okay, so Tashima, the Tani Rabbi Yehuda, the Irish Pishon Daka Rehu Kizevel. The Irish of Pishon Daka is like Zevel, Shmamina, and Irish of Pishon Koi Shmamina. So Rabbi Yehuda is only going on the last thing that was mentioned before his words in the Mishnah, which is Pishon. He's not going on wood. Okay, Zok the Mishnah. Taimnin Beshlachin, you're allowed to do Atmana Beshlachin. Shlachin is skins. Right? And they are not muktza, and you're allowed to carry them. Okay? So that's, again, we're going back into muktza. You're allowed to do atmana with skins, and you can carry them. You can do it with shearings of wool, but you can't carry them. So how do you do it? Noitel is a kisui, meaning, so now basically what you do, you have your cholent pot, and you put it, and you surrounded it with something that's muktza, right? Gizei tzemer, wool, right? Which you would not use for anything else. I mean, you wouldn't really even use it for hatmana, but you need it for hatmana, but you plan on using this wool, so therefore it's muktza. So now you surround your pot. So now how do you take your pot out? Right? If it's muktza. Right? So so how do you do it? What you do is you take off the pot cover, and then they'll fall off. So basically you're not moving the muktza directly, you're moving the muktza indirectly. Let's say you have it in a box. You have the pot in a box, right? And you stuffed it up with insulation. So now how are you getting it out? So kupa mata al tzida, you lean it on its side, v'noitel, and you pull it out sideways. Shema yitol, because perhaps you're going to take it. I mean, if you don't tilt it on its side, what's going to happen is you're going to take out the pot. All the insulation is going to fall back into this box, right? And then you're not going to be able to put it back. But the Chachamim say, no, it's no problem. You can take it and you can put it back. We're going to get to this Machlokes in the Gemara. So Yosef Rav Yonasan ben Achinoi, Rav Yonasan ben Elazar, Rav Yosef Rav Chanina bar Chama Gabayev, v'kami Bailu. They asked the question, Shlachan Shabal Abayis Tanan? When we're talking about leathers, are we talking about a homeowner's leather? So meaning he doesn't plan on selling it, so that's why it's not muktza. Aval shal uman, but a worker's keeping the kapara layu loy b'tatalinu, and somebody who's a worker, meaning for him, this leather is either what he's going to sell or what he's going to work with, so he's going to be very makbid on it, and therefore maybe that's muktza. Therefore loy b'tatalinu, you can't take it. Aydom shal uman tanan. Or maybe it's a worker's, but kol shekain shabal abayis, meaning uman, even an uman is not muksa, and kol shekain shabal abayis, his leathers are not going to be muksa. Some of the Rabbi Yadis and Elazar, mustama shabal abayis, tanan mustama, it's a bal abayis. Aval shal uman kaped alayu, but an uman is going to be makbid, not to use it for anything else. Some of the Rabbi Chama, kacham Rabbi Yisroel, but Rabbi Yisroel, Abba shalchu hava. My father was a worker. And he used to say, go bring these leathers and we'll sit down on them. So you see that he was a worker and he didn't care and it was not muksa. So Mason, I'm going to ask a couple of kashas on this. Mason, we could finish this over because it's not a hard omen. Mason, the son of balabayis, right? So the shavings of the wood of a balabayis metaltal and a son, you're allowed to take them. But a workers, you can't take it. But if you thought about it before to give it out to guests, I guess guests need extra seats for guests, then you can, right? So you see that the wood, people are not makbid on it. And people are makbid on it, right? Shaluman ain't metaltal in the sun. So the Gemara says, Shani in the sun, meaning so that's a story on the kasha from his father, that his father wasn't makbid. So we say, Shani in the sun, the kabbalah, no, carpenters is different because that people are more makbid on than leathers. So Tashma, Oires, Ben Avud, and Meisha, and Avud, and Mutter. Skins, whether they're finished, whether Avud, and whether they were worked out, and they're Mutter. Mutter will tell them Shabbos, and Mutter to take them Shabbos. Loyam Avudin, Elaleini Tuma Bavad. And the only time we said anything about Avudin is for Tuma. Meaning, if it's not done, then it's not Makabal Tuma yet, right? Because if they're not, meaning if it's not in its finished state, then it's not going to be Makabal Tuma. Yeah? So my lav loishno shabalabayis loishno shal uman. So it seems like the Gemara the Brisa doesn't differentiate between a balabayis or an uman's leather. So the Gemara says loishno balabayis avol shal uman. It means shal balabayis avol shal uman mai emataltalin. But an uman you would not be able to because it's muksa. This that it says we only said about avudin, meaning if it's done. If it's to finish the process, we only said it by tuma bilvad. Why don't you differentiate and say by it that when are we? When is that? When is that considered not muktzah? That's by a balabais. But by an uman not. Meaning, why do you have to go start talking about tuma and tara? Just talk about a difference between a balabais and an uman. So it's so kula balabais kamari. No, the whole thing is talking about by a bal abayis, and we're not getting involved in it. Kitanoy, it's like a machlokes tanoim. Irish of abayis, skins of a bal abayis, metaltal in the sun, v'shalum and a metaltal in the sun. So the bottom line is the Gemara ends up saying it's a machlokes tanoim whether skins are considered muksa for workers. For balabatim, for sure, animal skins is no issue to move them around. For workers, it's a machlokes tanoim. Fine. Then the Gemara brings something in parenthetically. They went and they asked another question. Right? So we know that the Avos Melachos is 40 minus 1, which is Lamites Melachos. Keneged me. What is that? Why are there 39 specifically? Now, this is a fascinating question. What do you mean, why are there 39 Melachos? There are 39 Melachos because there's 39 Melachos. If they had more Melachos, it would have been 41 or 42, 43. Why are you saying, why 39? It's sort of like a gematria type question. Like, what's the significance of...
Keneged me.
Keneged you?
No, it says in the Gemara, Keneged me.
Oh, I think you said Keneged you. I didn't know what you said. Right, I'm saying Keneged me, but the Gemara is almost looking like for a vart.
No, they wanted to watch the Makar. Where are you getting it from?
No, see, that wouldn't be Keneged me. That would be why are there 39 melachos would be what you're saying. Here it's saying it's Keneged me. Like, what is it referring to? So look at the Taisus. I believe it's a fascinating Taisus. Could I look at right to the right in a slightly down. Aborim avos melachos chasarachos keneged me. The harbe melachos yesh the dami al hadadi. There are many melachos that are very similar to each other. We should have put them all under one category. This is always a kasha that bothers a lot of people when they're learning melachos. Like, I understand, you have 3 melachos in a row that seem to be saying the same thing. The parak with parak klal gadol, like we ask in parak klal gadol, hainu zaira, hainu bayra, hainu merakin. Right? There's 3 melachos. Zaira is throwing stuff into the air, and you're separating the good from the bad. And then what's the next thing? Bayra. What's bayra? Separating the good from the bad. And meraked is sifting. What is that? Separating good from bad. Those are 3 seemingly of the same things. And umashum chiluk muad beishabeneim lo yav machloken lahu. Right? If because of the small differences between them, they would not have separated them, and they would have put them in one big malacha. Ilav de kimlu the lamatas malachas hein keneged shum davar. Unless they knew that there has to be 39. Lakach boy keneged me. That's why Tosis is asking. That's why the Gemara is asking. What is the importance and the significance of 39? Because really, you could have combined a bunch of them together, right? And you didn't. And the reason why they didn't is because it seems like 39 has a significance. That's the Gemara's kasha. So back in the Gemara, it was Keneged, like the famous, everybody knows this, that avodas in the Mishkan, meaning there were 39 different avodas in the Mishkan. There's 39 times it says in the Torah the words malacha, malachta, melecha. Melachos, right? So therefore, since there's 39 times that it says malacha, therefore that's why we have the significance, and we have to fit in the lamatas melachos into that. So by Rav Yosef,
the second what's it called answer is the first one. That's not an answer. Keneged avodas in Mishkan.
No, there were 39 avodas in the Mishkan.
But that doesn't give a reason. That's what we came up with. We came up with 39 avodas in Mishkan.
Okay, so that's a good question. So we're going to get to that in 30 block from now, 25 blocks from now, right? But yeah. So, but now Vayavay Abayis Alasim Malachti. That's Yosef at Tzaddik when he came to Potiphar, Potiphar, and when it says Abayis Alasim Malachti, so really that means that he came and he was going to give in and he was going to sleep with her. Right? So now it says there the word melachtai. So is that one of the 39 or not? Seemingly has nothing to do with the work. Right? So is that considered part of the 39 or not? So let's take out a Sefer Torah, right, and count it. Right? It's almost like when you have 2 guys fighting over this. Is this a halach or not? So let's take out a Sefer Torah. Show me where it is in the Sefer Torah. Right? So that's essentially what they did here too. Let's count it. They didn't move from there until they brought a Sefer Torah, and they counted them. Right? So that should be an answer. So he said to him, no. So my suffix is that when they asked everybody for donations for the Mishkan, right? So then everybody in Klal Yisroel donated very well. And they had to tell them, like, the melachos that we have enough. Meaning it wasn't actual malacha, but it meant like we have enough money, stop bringing money. Is that from the minion or not? Meaning, I jumped the gun a little bit. Again, so now we have 2 times it says malacha in the Torah, and we're not sure which one of these 2 get counted to the 39. So the malacha is the dime is miminyahu. I backed up for hakeman da'omer lasei tzrachim nichnas. And then Memela, the Taicha Malacha, when Yosef came to do Malacha, meant to do his needs, which was to sleep with her. Or that Malachta by Yosef is part of the number, right? Because he was actually going to do work. And the Malacha the word of Malacha by the Mishkan, when it was said it was enough, that they did enough work. So we're not exactly sure which one of the lamites malachos, which one of these words malachos. It's very interesting. So basically, we're coming out that we have the specific need to have 39 malachos, but there are more words of malach in the Torah, and we don't even know which one gets represented from it. Okay, so Tanya Kamandamar Keneged Avodas Mishkan. We have a brisa like the Mandamar that says that it was opposite the Avodas in Mishkan. The Tanya Ein Chayav Ela Al Malachos Shechayotzva Ha'isiv Mishkan. You only chayav on malachos that they did similar to it in the Mishkan. Heim zaru va'atem lo yisizu. They planted in the Mishkan, you don't plant. Heim katzru, they gathered. You shouldn't gather. They picked up the krushim, the beams from the Mishkan, from the ground, and put it onto a wagon. You shouldn't bring anything from the street into your house. They took down the krushim from the wagon onto the ground. You shouldn't bring out from your house to the Rosh Hashanah. They carry it from wagon to wagon. You shouldn't carry even from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. What do you do? If you went from Rosh Hashanah, what did you do? Right? There's nothing wrong with that. We answered only Shlomo Melech, only answered Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. So my cover, Rabbi saying no. What they did is some say Rabbi said Mishus Derech Rosh Hashanah. That's because they had wagons. They went from one wagon to the other wagon. So that they had to pass it over Rosh Hashanah because the wagons couldn't be right up against each other. So they passed from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah through Rosh Hashanah. So that's also usher. So therefore, we have a proof that the Lamates Melachos go opposite the Lamates Melachos that they did in the Mishkan, which is the contemporary. That's what most people go with. All right. My kids always ask me, how come we can't? Because we don't use Erev. So can we throw from Bubby's porch to my mother's porch to the Shifa Rockaway porch? Because that's Rosh Hashanah, Derech Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't land in the street. So obviously they know this. Somebody must have told them something about this Gemara. I tell them no, it's a no go. All right. Anyways, have yourself a good Shabbos, and yeah. All right.
I just got an update on Rabbi Ginsburg.
Yeah.
That since instead of making phone calls, small issue. So they got CAT scan results. There seems to be a small bleed inside they need to address. The issue is they have to stop blood thinners, which can be dangerous. The procedure is invasive, but they're doing it tomorrow, so please have him in mind for tefillas tomorrow.
All right, so add that one to Jesse's. Add his name also to Jesse's list.
All right. Yeah, have a refuah, Bikarev.
Yeah, he's doing Baruch Hashem. He's doing much better. They took out the chest tube 2 days ago. He's doing much better, but there seems to be a small little hiccup to have to do a procedure tomorrow. And someone a from doctor put tefillin on him on Wednesday for the first time, and he said Shema.
Nice. All right. 1 minute. Okay, but so does everybody. Have a good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.